eighth grade or a year older. Do you think that's helpful? I'm just really curious of your opinion because I see it so much, and parents always ask all the time on this. And there's no one who I can think would know the answer on this or have a chance to know the answer more than anyone else is than you. Do you think if a guy comes back a year and so now he's I don't know, he's going to graduate and he's going to be 19, right? He's a year older. Does that help them in the recruiting process, or does that have no effect? Coaches even look at that? I always want that because if I'm 19 and I enter and I'm pretty good versus I'm 18 and I enter college and I'm pretty good, like what is the is there a difference? Is there that topping out an issue and down the line?
They don't really.
I'm
There
curious.
have been a lot of kids. I mean, obviously there've been a lot of kids, honestly, in New Jersey as well, who take that extra year, and sometimes that extra year is in sixth grade,
Right.
in seventh grade, and their parents are looking forward to, like, I want him to be a 17-year-old sophomore, so he has a physical advantage over other kids, and that's every state, but New Jersey is a good example. Coaches don't care about that. You know, apples to apples, if there's a 17-year-old kid versus an 18-year-old kid in the same class, they'd probably lean towards a 17-year-old kid because there's still more possibility for him to physically grow and get better. Um, it's really the opposite that I think your coaches are starting to get very wary of. The kids who accelerate. JT Daniels, great example of this. He missed his entire senior season because he accelerated graduation. Quinn Ewers, another one, accelerated. And they get in and they get in too quick and
Hmm.
they get over their head and they don't reach their potential. I think coaches are becoming wary of those guys more. Now they're still going to recruit JT Daniels. He was, the number three quarterback in that class behind Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. But now he's at USC, Georgia, West Virginia. He's in the portal again. They're going to still recruit Quinn Ewers because his arm is a cannon. But now he's at Ohio State and he's at Texas, and he didn't have a great debut year. But the repeating grades doesn't really affect college coaches. It affects the NFL though, because if you are a 23-year-old senior, you're not gonna get drafted in the first round as opposed to a 21-year-old kid because you got less time to reach that 5-year first round guaranteed rookie contract. You're going to be 28 by the time that comes up, whereas a kid who's 21 is going to be 26. Huge difference. So the age thing, if I were to give advice to parents, don't push them forward. Um, don't hold them back. You
Stay where
know,
you are.
yeah, because that's the thing is like where you are is where you are, and you need to understand for your own purposes in getting better where you are. If you accelerate and you're playing all younger, you're the youngest kid who's playing older kids. That's how it works with the acceleration. Then you might think you're better. Then look at me, I'm playing these older kids and I accelerated a grade and I'm still better than all of them. And it may lead to you sort of stunting. The other opposite is if you're 17 and you're beating up on a bunch of 15-year-olds, you may think you're really good and you're not getting a true case of how you are, you know, freshman to freshman in college. You may come out of there and, Jesus, I beat the crap out of all these younger kids because I stayed back in third grade and sixth grade and I'm a 20-year-old freshman, but I haven't played anybody who's my age in a very long time. And here I am competing for a job as a true freshman, and these true freshmen are 18 and I'm 20, and they're better than me. And I never had to step up my game because I had that little advantage. So accelerate, decelerate, don't do either of it. Work at your level. If you're a 2023 kid, stay 2023, work against 2023 so you get a real clear vision of whether you're good enough or not. That's how I look at it.
That is that fascinating, fascinating. And I think about the Edmonds brothers. Like when I was an age, I had represented Trey Edmonds, who was the oldest, and he went in as a 23-year-old. And then I represented. I don't know if I lost you here. If you're there or not.
I got a phone call, so it kicks me
Oh,
out.
so he was 23 when he went into the NFL, but he was not drafted. Then the two younger brothers went in at 21, and the other one was 19.9 or whatever the youngest you could possibly be.
Oh, you're talking about the Edmonds brothers from
Yeah.
Virginia?
So
Yeah.
Trey and Terrell were younger. Terrell was 21. Tremaine was 19.9 or 20. I think he
He
turned
was super, super young coming in the
super young.
NFL.
But the guy who went the highest at the NFL was Tremaine because he was younger and he had the longer upside on the NFL because he was already talented at that level. And Terrell obviously went first round, the end of the first round. Trey, who was also a great player, but he was older. He went in as 23, was undrafted, right? So I thought that they were an interesting family example. I think most people would be better off falling where Terrell is, like you said, the correct age, right?
Yeah.
And so it was, and the only reason why Trey went in at 23 is because I think he redshirted a year, or so he was 5 years. He was older, right? But that affected down the line. Now, obviously, 99% of the people aren't going to be able to, even the Division One college guys aren't going to be able to play in the NFL. So I thought your advice is really, really well managed because you can continue to develop in college if you're the correct age at the correct grade. You'll continue to develop because you're used to competing against kids in your class and your age versus if you're older or younger. It's a harder management process mentally. I think it's a mental game, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you
Well,
don't know whether you're getting better or not, or you're just that far ahead of somebody.
yeah. And Tremaine is a good example too, because, okay, so he's the perfect scenario. He went 3 years of Virginia Tech and he ended up being a first rounder. And he's so young, he gets that extra couple of years for his contract because the shelf life of an NFL player, if you're good, is 10 years, right? So he's going to get that one rookie contract with the fifth year option. Then he's going to get to his second contract. And maybe he'll get to a third contract where that's where you make huge money in the second and third deals because he's young enough. Whereas a 24-year-old kid, a 23-year-old kid who's entering as such, and especially with COVID now, a lot of kids are trying to decide whether they want to take that extra year of eligibility that they have, or do they want to really wait that long and go to the NFL as a 23-year-old rookie? Because their shelf life, again, is about the same, but they're only going to get two contracts as opposed to three, and they're going to hit that first contract later than other people would. So it's a juggle, but the Tremaine Edmonds situation is rare.
Right.
It's very rare. So you could take that 0.0001% chance that you're Tremaine Edmonds and try to, finagle things. You can always finagle things. It's funny because in hockey, you're drafted out of high school or college, and it's based on your birth date. I think it's after a certain day, like it's September or something like that. If you're post that, then you're 1 year. If you're pre that, you're another year in the draft. And people finagle that stuff all the time where, okay, I want to take advantage of being in this draft class. So I'm going to go to prep school and, maybe I'll even like mess with my birth certificate or what. You hear all these crazy stories. The NFL doesn't matter. College football doesn't matter. You could sit back and maybe you think you're going to get extra scholarship offers because you're 20 and you look great against 17-year-olds. College coaches will notice that stuff. I say they don't care, but they will notice it. But it doesn't matter. I mean, Calvin Ridley was a 19-year-old senior, and he went on to Alabama, played 3 seasons, went in pro first round, made millions, got suspended for gambling and all that stuff. But 19-year-old senior, they don't give a crap. This kid's great. I'm taking him. And everybody wanted him. If you're good enough, you could play against your own. And for a guy like Ridley, sort of staying back, and he didn't do it purposely, kind of hurt him. So I would say just stay where you are. If you're good enough, you'll figure it out. If you're not, you're not. But we should probably wrap it up because you've been over an hour.
That was great. Honestly, those